Hey, what's good everybody? It's Lance again, and today I'm coming at you with yet another movie thoughts discussion kind of video. I want to get out of the habit of saying movie review because first of all, I don't really want my channel to necessarily just be me reviewing films in the sense in which there is potential for any bashment or harsh criticism that may or may not be relevant. However, I just really want to talk about mostly what I like about these type of films. I don't want to get into the habit of being one of these film reviewers that just goes out on a marathon of just hating every single movie they watch. It's just one of those things in which I feel like as an aspiring filmmaker, I know how hard it is to make a movie, and at the same time I want to see great content and entertainment. However, I just don't personally feel comfortable by bashing any director who I feel like is actually giving an effort into making a film. So obviously my rating system will stay the same in terms of how I feel about a movie. However, the thought of saying that this movie is a review, or that this video is a review, is maybe not accurate to the fullest extent. It's more about just what I thought about the movie, like interesting things in which I would like to just kind of discuss with you. But anyway, that's enough about that. Today I'm going to be talking about Spike Lee's newest film. Yes, his newest film, BlackkKlansman, starring John David Washington. Also, there's a lot of other great people in here. You got Harrier, you got Adam Driver, who's been on a roll lately. He's been working with like every great director. I mean, he worked with Jim Jarmusch, Steven Spielberg, Martin Scorsese. Now he's working with Spike Lee. I think that's just like awesome. Like, he has like a terrific filmography currently. And yeah, you know, John David Washington, this is his first like big film breakout role. If you guys don't know about him, he's also on the show on HBO called Ballers with Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, which I used to try to get into in the first couple of seasons, but then after a while I kind of just stopped watching because of reasons that, you know, I don't know, I just sometimes you gotta learn to let some shows go. But anyway, I liked him on that show, and it's funny because he kind of plays an NFL player, and he actually was formerly a professional football player if I'm not mistaken, but he kind of took a break from that, or just completely stopped, and actually got into the arts and considered acting because his father obviously is one of the most renowned actors ever, and he takes after his father very well. He's really kind of embodies a young Denzel, honestly. I feel like there was moments in this movie where he kind of just like looked and mirrored his father, and I just thought that was really interesting and really cool as a matter of fact. But anyway, this film is about basically a black detective, a new rookie cop, kind of comes into the police force, a police force in Colorado Springs, Colorado, which doesn't necessarily have any black people on the force at all. Ron Stallworth is his name, takes it upon himself to join the police force, and the trials and tribulations that's come with that as a black man in the 70s. I believe it takes place in the 60s, 70s, 80s, around that time frame, just after the Vietnam War, so in the 70s. He kind of just takes it upon himself to become this police officer. He wants to be a very good cop. He feels like he can do a lot of good work with the police, and eventually he actually takes his hand of becoming a detective, and they grant him that access to becoming a detective. Police force initially kind of just doesn't really take a good liking to him. You know, they see him as this black man who thinks he's all that, quote unquote, but he's really just wanting to try to make a difference, and he kind of just tries to find different assignments that he can do. Eventually they assign him to kind of investigate the Black Panther Party, and then eventually through that he kind of takes it upon himself to try to investigate the local chapter of the Ku Klux Klan. Now, this obviously movie tackles racism dead on. It basically kind of opens with Alec Baldwin playing a fictional president, or a fictional, I guess you can say, political figure who's just a racist, who kind of just like blames everything on black people and the Jews, and it kind of just like opens the movie, and then that's how you kind of get into the actual story of the movie. Adam Driver, he plays another police detective who's kind of the partner of Ron Stallworth, and through that, their partnership actually evolves because Ron Stallworth takes it upon himself to call up the local chapter of the Ku Klux Klan and actually pretend to be a white man so he can infiltrate their chapter. However, he actually uses his real name, and it comes into a little thing because obviously he's a black man. He can't actually infiltrate it himself, so he uses Adam Driver's character in order to basically have him play the part of Ron Stallworth and infiltrate the chapter and see what's happening with them, if they're planning any attacks, any motivations they might have that may be harmful to others, specifically people of color. And yeah, that's basically the film, without trying to get into too many specifics because I don't want to spoil anything for you guys. This is a return to form for Spike Lee. I feel like the last really solid film from Spike Lee besides this has been Inside Man, and that came out in 2006. I feel like he's kind of been on a little bit of a rough patch lately, but not until he's made this movie. This movie is, like I said before, is a return to form for Spike Lee. He has done it, and I really enjoyed it. This is his most grounded, most competent, most relevant film that he's made in a while. I believe that Jordan Peele was actually on board to film this movie and direct it himself. However, he kind of stepped back and let Spike Lee take the reins and helm this movie, and yeah, it definitely paid off. John David Washington is great, and he kind of is the spitting image of a young Denzel. He is great. Adam Driver, great as well. Everybody in this film kind of plays it to the T. Topher Grace plays David Duke, the former Grand Wizard of the Ku Klux Klan, and yeah, he's very believable. He's very like creepy, just I don't know, man. Like, I heard that Topher Grace, in order to come down from the role, because it's really hard to be playing like a racist or someone who's just like, I don't know, like just almost like a terrible person, basically a terrible person. You know, he actually recut all 3 of the Hobbit films into 1 2-hour movie just to come down from that, because it must be kind of like mentally tolling to be playing such a character, and just like, I don't know, like it kind of just gets to you, especially as an actor, and even as a method actor especially. So I could only understand that, and he actually really does a good job here for the time that he's in the movie. There's a lot of instances where it's actually really funny. You get to see John David Washington's chemistry with Laura Harrier, who plays a member of the Black Panther Party, kind of like have like this relationship ongoing throughout the movie, and it's pretty cool. It's really believable. It's a good relationship that they kind of build on. And the film also tackles obviously police brutality and different things in regards to race. The members of the Ku Klux Klan that are shown here, yeah, obviously they're just very racist, but you know, they're very unlikable. And there's one of them who's kind of like a psychopath and has like this wife who kind of just is there and is also just as racist as he is. You could tell that they're misogynistic, and you could tell that everything around them just kind of revolves around their hatred towards people of color, the Jews, and just anybody who kind of goes against their crazy ideology. Spike Lee does not hold back on anything in terms of his signature style. You get a lot of Spike Lee stuff, even though the film kind of doesn't almost feel like too much like a Spike Lee joint. It is, because you still got those signature bits in and out of the movie where you see the signature shots of Spike Lee, you see his message, especially with the ending. I don't want to spoil anything, but the ending is actually like one of the things where you kind of come out of it silent, because it's just so relevant currently right now. I don't want to get too much into politics, but it is a kind of almost like a political film. Spike Lee even said himself that he hopes that this film jeers people to not vote for Trump for 2020 and only give him like a 1-term presidency. This movie actually won the Grand Prix at the Cannes Film Festival, which is pretty awesome. It also had a 10-minute standing ovation, and I could see why, especially with the ending. Overall, I mean, I feel like this movie is really relevant. The pacing is really good. There was not a time where I felt like I kind of didn't like what I was watching at all, because no, it was very, very well done. I can't wait to see what else John David Washington does. And yeah, it's just crazy, and it's a crazy story. Obviously, I feel like this movie is really good, so I'm just going to say that it's pretty dope. Hope you guys enjoy it. I believe it's playing everywhere right now, so please go see it. I think it's a very relevant film that needs to be seen by a lot of people, and I'm sure it will be. Hopefully it makes a lot of money, or a good amount of money at the box office. I believe it was only made for $13 to $17 million, which is pretty decent. Also, please leave a like if you really liked this video, and also subscribe for new videos. You guys have a great one, and I'll talk to you guys later. Peace.